All right, sir, if I can't get you on camera, you're not here.
I'm doing so right now. I am exempt from these rules and regulations. I motion and move this court to dismiss this case. I am sui juris in proper persona and propria persona.
All right, folks, today we've got a classic sovereign citizen meltdown, this time going head-to-head with Judge Webster. And let me tell you, Judge Webster is not here to entertain the nonsense. This guy walks in with the usual script: no drivers, license, no insurance, no registration. You already know it's about to go completely off the rails. But seriously, you have to see it to believe it. The way this guy carries himself, it's like he's living in a completely different reality. Full-on courtroom chaos. It really makes you wonder, do people like this actually think they can outsmart the system? Or are we just watching another episode in the bizarre world of sovereign citizens? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are we dealing with someone truly delusional or just another internet lawyer gone rogue? Either way, buckle up. This one's a ride. Let's dive in.
Jared Regier, State. Is Mr. Dubas present? Anthony Dubas?
I am Anthony Edward Dubus. Dubus is the English pronunciation. Dubus is the original French. And I am appearing specially in propria persona, not pro se, as sui juris.
Okay, first of all, I can't see you, so you're not here.
Parents satisfied?
Thank you, sir. Now,
Absolutely.
As far as I need to go, well, I need you back here in person.
Okay, well, it's propria persona, not in person. I'm not the legal entity that you're claiming me to be.
All right, sir, if I can't get you on camera, you're not here.
I'm doing so right now. I'm just removing it as it takes a while.
Now, the second order of business, let's get your name straight. I know a family with the same exact spelling in America, and they do pronounce it Dubus, but you said you pronounce it
Dubus, as the original Dubus, as the original French. Yep.
Very well, Dubus.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, Mr. Dubus appears in person and pro se.
Correction, propria persona.
Well, in this court, it's in person. And
correction, in all courts, it may be either pro se, either appear in person, or propria persona.
Well, in my years of law school and nearly 40 years of practice, both as an attorney and a judge, it's been in person, and that's what I'm going with, sir. I believe that is just fine. So in any event, we will proceed with your charges. In count one, sir, you're charged with operating a motor vehicle on a highway of this state without having a valid driver's license pursuant to KSA 8-235A. In count two, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, you did then and there unlawfully operate or attempt to operate a motor vehicle, to wit, a 2003 Honda Accord, upon a highway of the state, to wit, 1700 block of East Foxtail Street, Andover, Butler County, Kansas, while the vehicle was not registered in violation of KSA 8-142. In count three, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, Anthony Edward Dubus,
Thank you, Myron.
unlawfully and intentionally drive a motor vehicle upon a public highway or property open to use by the public and failed to provide proof of insurance upon demand by a law enforcement officer. Now, sir, if you had insurance when you were stopped but just didn't have it with you or couldn't find it quickly, just provide proof to the county attorney and they'll most likely dismiss that charge. But if you really didn't have insurance, you're looking at a Class B non-person misdemeanor. The law does require a minimum fine if you're convicted of $300 up to 1,000, and it does have a possible jail sentence up to 6 months.
This is honestly hilarious. You can tell just from the charges that this guy's a sovereign citizen. No license, no insurance, no registration. Like, at this point, it's as if they wake up every morning and actively choose to make life harder for themselves. I genuinely don't get it. They act like obeying the most basic laws is some kind of government trap. It's not some grand conspiracy. It's literally just common sense. You can't legally drive without a license. You can't own and operate a car without registering it. The Supreme Court has already made it clear. States absolutely have the authority to enforce these laws to keep the roads safe. But nope, sovereign citizens swear they've cracked the legal code while the rest of us are just brainwashed sheep. Spoiler alert, that's not how any of this works. Honestly, I think part of the issue goes back to how little we're taught about the law growing up. From elementary school through high school, they pack our brains with random trivia, but how often do we get taught anything about our legal rights, basic responsibilities, or how adulthood actually works? I can't think of a single class that covered any of that. Maybe I'm wrong. It has been a minute since I was in school. But I really don't think I am. What do y'all think? Was your experience any different? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. All right, let's get back into the chaos.
Do have the right to an attorney. You can hire any attorney of your choice, but if you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply and see if you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. You don't have to have an attorney, though. You can waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself. So that's an order of business we need to take care of today, is whether you want an attorney or not. And then another is to make sure that you understand what the charges are and the possible penalties. Do you have any questions for me about that?
Yeah, I don't understand the nature and cause of the charges. I have not had my accuser face me to bring the charges against me, as is a violation of due process. And I want to correct, for the record of the court, the named defendant is different than the named person, being myself. Hold on, let me make sure I get that in view of the camera. The named person here is different than the one named in the charges and the counts, being a difference of representation of who exactly it is the charges are against. And it is to my belief and knowledge that per KAR 8243 subsection A, exemption from the motor carrier safety regulations, A, the occasional transportation of personal property by private motor carriers that is not for compensation and is not in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise. I am exempt from these rules and regulations, and if I need to get a USDOT number to show that I was not operating a commercial motor vehicle or as a common carrier for business or for profit or in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise, I will be more than happy to produce that USDOT number to show that I am in fact a private motor carrier, not operating in commerce, not driving, as I'm merely transporting and traveling.
Mr. DuBois, you are not charged under the Uniform Commercial Carriers Code as adopted by the state of Kansas. You are charged just as a motorist operating a motor vehicle. Again, not a commercial vehicle. These are not laws that are subject to the commercial code or to the administrative regulation that you referred.
Although you mentioned the word operating, operating is a term used for the furtherance of a commercial enterprise, or driving, operating, the physical use or furtherance of for-profit business or for compensation.
It may under the commercial code, but not under the code otherwise.
It is
Kansas.
under Kansas, correct?
It is not under Chapter 8 of the Kansas statutes or Chapter 40, which are filed under. But we can address that at a later date at a trial or a motions hearing if necessary. But I do not see the statutory language that you're addressing being applicable to these statutes, at least preliminarily at this hearing.
It is within, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's my ruling there. And then on the name issue, I am not tracking you there. The only difference I see is that at the top of the document, state of Kansas and your name are capitalized, and in the initial or in the individual charges, it's traditional capital letter of the first name, all lowercase of the remaining names throughout. So I'm not following that argument. Again, if you want to readdress that at a later date, we can, but I'm just not seeing that argument.
Okay.
Now then.
I motion and move this.
It's honestly hilarious watching this sovereign citizen whip out his little cheat sheet like he just cracked the Da Vinci Code of the legal system. He's sitting there, confidently reading off these fake laws like he's got the ultimate playbook. And I'm just sitting here like, sir, what exactly is the plan here? So let me get this straight. They go out, buy a car, decide they magically don't need a license, insurance, or registration, and then, when they inevitably get pulled over, they walk into court and declare the court has no jurisdiction while literally standing in it, like, make it make sense. And just when you think it can't get any more ridiculous, they start quoting laws that don't even exist. Stuff they probably found in a YouTube comment section from 2011. Meanwhile, every judge in America has already heard this speech 100 times, and they're not impressed. I've been saying this for a while now. This has to be some kind of delusion. Like, I don't care how deep you are in the conspiracy rabbit hole. At some point, logic has to kick in. Because this isn't a legal strategy. It's legal fantasy football. There is literally no winning here, no license, no insurance, no registration, and absolutely no common sense. At this point, it'd be easier to just sell the car, grab an Uber, or take the bus, because that would honestly be way less stressful than playing courtroom cosplay in front of a real judge. If anyone watching this actually understands the mindset behind this sovereign citizen logic, please drop it in the comments, because I swear I'm losing brain cells just watching this unfold. Let's get back to it.
For the motion I have filed, and for the brief in support of motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction.
Sir, I do not have any such motion or brief in support. Mr. Regier, have you received any such documents?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor, and so I fail to see, at least at this juncture, how such a motion is properly brought before the court, unless the court is aware of something that I am not aware of.
Well, that's what I'm trying to decide, if it's properly before the court. Mr. Dubois, who did you file the motion and brief with?
Well, seeing as your guys' e-file is down for what is it? It's called a ransom malware or something. I cannot e-file.
Right,
so
but you can mail it, or you can walk it into the clerk of the court. Have you done that?
Yes, I've mailed it. By email, which a court.
I'm sorry, when I
could.
Okay, go ahead, please. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. It was by email, which the court clerk said I could, considering the e-file was down. And I can't really go 20-something miles to do that, considering my personal property was stolen.
When did you email it, sir? When did you email it?
A while ago.
Judge.
Yeah.
Yes.
We do not accept emailed filings, only faxed or by mail or person.
Okay, I was told that they do not have fax, so I could not do that. So email would be okay.
He may have called the wrong courthouse then.
They spent 10 minutes finding my case because your guys' system was down. So I'm fairly certain it was the correct one.
Okay, do you recall which you filed or which court you called?
Let me go to my sent. T Stafford at bucokansas.com.
I think that might be at the county courthouse, not the district courthouse.
Okay. So
Is it? Okay.
if you want to file something, sir, let's make sure you file it in a fashion that will get it officially recognized. So Ashley, how do you suggest he file motions and the like?
He will either need to mail us a copy of it or he can fax file.
And is your guys' fax active?
Yes, it has been the whole time.
I'm loving how the court clerk is giving this guy some serious attitude right now. You can just see the regret on his face. He's probably wishing he had a lawyer sitting next to him. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this was part of his plan all along. There's no way he accidentally forgot to send his motions. It's pretty clear he has no idea how to properly file one. And let's be real, if you're filing motions in court, there are very specific rules you have to follow. Everyone knows that. It really feels like he's just trying to stall the case at this point. I mean, it's not even that hard to send something to the right email, even though the court doesn't accept filings by email to begin with. But still, if you're gonna mess up, at least mess up in the right direction. The whole thing feels shady, honestly, like he's either totally lost or playing games. And given how he's been acting, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he turns out to be yet another sovereign citizen trying to game the system with nonsense filings and delays. What do you guys think so far? Is this just incompetence, or is he playing the long con? Let me know in the comments.
As is a criminal matter, there are two jurisdictions which I may be tried. One is the common law, and the other is a military tribunal. Which of those two do you intend to try me in?
I intend to try you in this one, sir.
Which is this one? Please elaborate.
The criminal one.
Well, criminal has two jurisdictions. It is either the common law or it is the military tribunal.
Well, sir, we're not going to go into that at this point.
Are you refusing to acknowledge to me and tell me the nature and cause of the charges?
I have told you the nature and the cause of the charges.
You are not elaborating.
I think the remaining issue, sir, is whether you're going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself.
My Honor, I need to know whether or not this is going to be in the common law or a military tribunal.
Well, I am going to ask you one more time. Are you going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself, sir?
Again, I'm not representing myself. I am sui juris in proper persona and propria persona.
So you're not going to have an attorney, or are you?
No, I'm not going to be presented or represented by any British agent, registrant, or anybody else to be a ward of the state. I'm standing on my rights, and I do not abrogate them. And if you're going to continue to move this court without any sort of evidence, well, I guess I'll have to file that. But
we're going to set your hearing. How do you want to plead to the charges first? Then, if you don't want to have an attorney, how do you want to plead to no valid driver's license?
My Honor, are you attempting to administer the trust without permission and consent?
I'm asking you for your response. I'm giving you the chance to respond. Do you want to plead to this charge or not?
My Honor, I don't make any pleas as I am a appearing in proprietary persona, and any plea would submit jurisdiction to the court. I am here challenging jurisdiction under the common law, as I am owed the law of peace. And this is
The only fraud happening in that courtroom right now is this guy. He's clearly reading off some recycled Facebook script he probably found from a random sovereign citizen who thinks they're a legal genius. And honestly, it's painfully obvious. These sovereign citizens have this strange obsession with trying to trap judges into saying whether a case falls under common law, military law, maritime law, or whatever fantasy they're clinging to that week. Newsflash. Courts don't, work like that. No judge is going to pause an entire proceeding just to explain the legal framework. That's already built into the system. Yeah, common law has its place, but real courts also operate under statutes, case law, constitutional law, regulations, actual legal structures that have been established for centuries. But here, they are trying to twist the system into something it's not. And the judge? The judge is just sitting there like, nice try, next. At this point, it's like watching someone argue with a brick wall. Loud, pointless, and getting nowhere fast. Let me know what you think. Does this guy actually have a shot using these tactics? Or is this just another crash and burn moment in sovereign citizen history? Let's jump back in.
as fraud in the inducement from the beginning under due process violations from Deputy Khalid Barake and the other officers or sheriffs that were on scene. And if you're attempting to administer the trust without consent of myself, the living man, the grantor, in common law, which is above Admiralty Maritime Law, then you will be in violation of Article 3, Section 2, the trial of all crimes, except in case of impeachment, shall be jury, and such trial shall be held in a state where said crime shall have been committed, but when they are not committed with any state, the trial shall be at such place or places as the Congress may by law have directed. And as there is a difference between the Republic State Kansas before the state of Kansas was brought into the Federation of the Union of States. And you will also be in violation of I'm getting it real quick. 18 U.S. Code Sections 2381, treason. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States, the corporation, not United States of America or for America, levies war against them or adheres to the enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death or shall be imprisoned not less than 5 years and fined under this title, but not less than $10,000, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. Now, I, Anthony Edward Dubus, the proper case trade name, not the all caps legal entity of which you're attempting to administer the trust of, am an American state national, a Kansas state national per 8 USC 1101 subsection 21, and is recognized by the Kansas Human Rights Commission, as I have dealings with them going over my nationality in regards to a corporation in which I have a complaint filed against, has already been refused mediation by the company and is being investigated by Barbara Carper, the special investigator of Kansas Human Rights Commission, over my case specifically. And if you are attempting to move this case against myself, you are in violation of executing law rather than just judging on it. Which, if I need to pull up that statute
Sir,
case as well.
do you still have the same phone number you had posted on your bond that you have with AAA Butler County Bail Bonds. Is that still your current phone number?
My honor, Mrs.
316-252?
My honor, Webster, it is, you may call me either Anthony Dubus or Anthony Edward Dubus. I do not accept the term sir.
Very
Although,
well.
yes, my phone number is still the same at 316-252-9724.
All right. And is your address, okay. Addresses I found needs to be blocked. And Mr. Dubois, is your address still homeless, or do you have something more specific at this?
The judge really hit him with the "you're homeless" card. And wow, that had to sting. But honestly, the part that's really throwing me is how this guy keeps calling the judge "my honor" instead of the correct "your honor." Like, come on. That's Courtroom 101. It might seem like a small thing, but it's actually a huge red flag. Saying "your honor" isn't just tradition. It's a basic sign of respect for the court and the judge's role. But this guy's out. Here acting like he and the judge are on a first-name basis or something. That's not how any of this works. He's just digging himself deeper with every word. And at this rate, he's not climbing out anytime soon. Instead of trying to argue legal fantasy, maybe he should be focusing on, I don't know, getting stable housing? Let me know what y'all think, because I don't see a comeback arc in this story. Just a slow-motion train wreck.
I am within Wichita, Kansas, rural free delivery within the four-corner rule 67202, aka the brackets around 67202. And they refused to put down my rural free delivery address and put me as homeless instead because they could not accept it. They refused. Also, Deputy Khalid Barakay, when I was taken to Butler County Detention Center, refused that there were any magistrates at all within any of the courts, which per due process of common law, I was to be taken before a magistrate or a tribunal, both judicial, either Article 3 or 4, in front of a magistrate judge to be decided whether or not I was even within the jurisdiction to be tried for these charges or commercial crimes.
Your next court date will be 2 weeks from Monday. What do you have, Ashley? 2 weeks from this past Monday. What is it?
I believe that is going to be Monday, the 18th.
All right. Mr. Dubois, your next court date is December 18th at 8 a.m. by Zoom. You can always appear in the courthouse personally if you like. I am appointing Attorney Darren Patterson. Now, if you don't want to use him,
I do not accept any appointment of any attorney.
But I show that you don't have a specific residence. Do you have a job, employment?
I did, and then these actions against myself from the state of Kansas caused me not to have it anymore.
In this court's opinion, mixed federal law and state law and other sources of law that don't all go together.
May I elaborate?
I just want him to be available to you. I think we have exhausted this particular hearing, the purpose of which is merely to make sure you know what the charges are, the possible penalties, and your rights that I have gone over with you, including your right to counsel, which I'm hearing you say you don't wish to utilize. But nevertheless, I'm going to direct Mr. Patterson to at least be available to you, that you be here again December 18th at 8 a.m. by Zoom. And I'm going to continue your bond until that date and time. So anything else, Mr. Anthony Edward Dubois, please take that up. Thank you. Please take that up at the next hearing after you've had a time to talk to Mr. Patterson.
Okay. My last final thing I want to say is I'm already filing Kansas Commission on Judicial Conduct complaint against a judge. And that would be the prior judge, Mr. oh God, what's it, Mr. Lee, I believe, and I will be adding you to the complaint as well, as you are violating my due process right.
And of course, just like every sovereign citizen script tells them to, he wraps up the hearing by threatening the judge. Classic move. We've all seen it before. These guys really think that kind of nonsense is going to intimidate the court, or somehow earn them special treatment. Spoiler, it never works. Let's be real. This man is unemployed, homeless, and locked in a courtroom battle over a driver's license. Like, seriously? Just get the license and move on. It's not that deep. But no, he's turning a basic legal requirement into some grand rebellion. For what? And then there's the full-blown victim complex. He's blaming everyone, especially the state of Kansas, for where he's at. Not his fault he's homeless. Not his fault he's jobless. It's everyone else's fault. Man, at some point, you've got to take responsibility. Life is tough, sure, but that doesn't give you a free pass to ignore the rules or make up your own version of the law. It really feels like he's doing everything he can to avoid facing reality. And honestly, it's just not working. Anyway, that's it from me for today. What do you all think? Is this guy genuinely losing touch with reality? Or did he just fall headfirst into the sovereign citizen fantasy like so many others? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you're into these kinds of courtroom breakdowns, don't forget to like and subscribe. I post every day, so stay tuned. Appreciate you all, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.